Don't you just love problems? Like, no, really, like, yes, I meant to say that because, in business, in life, in English, solving complex problems, it's just kind of what we do. So today you'll learn the expressions in English that you need to solve your business problems, but together we're going to solve your English problems. Hi, I'm your English coach, Christina, and welcome to Business English with Christina, where you become better at English and better at business. The world is full of problems, but problems that are really absolutely interesting to solve. And I'm sure that you're probably already working on solving a lot of problems yourself. And I know that because when I work with a lot of my clients, we talk about the really interesting problems that they're trying to solve. It might be trying to solve problems of like ending poverty in the world with some, organizations they work for. It might be trying to solve problems of growing economy. Maybe even something is, I don't want to say basic, but more down to earth, like solving logistics problems or supply chain problems so that people can get the products that they need. I really feel like I get to hear a lot of inspiring stories and a lot of inspiring searches for solutions, let's say, to some of the world's problems. So today is part one of a two-part video all about solving problems in English and solving your English problems. So we'll tackle your problem together. That means we'll solve your problem together. And in the process, you'll get a lot of great business English expressions. So in part one, we'll focus on understanding the problem better so that in part two, we can look at how to best solve your problems. So what's a problem that you have in common with all of the other very smart people watching this video? Improving your English, probably, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So the first thing is understanding the problem. If you're like the people on my team, you get really excited about getting stuff done, like making things happen, solving the problems. But before you can sit down to work on that problem, you have to really take a good look at the problem because it's important to have a good understanding, of the problem if you're going to solve it. You want to look at it and analyze it before you just jump into getting stuff done. Hey, did you know that what we're doing in this video, it's what we neurolanguage coaches call natural learning. Basically, learning expressions and learning English through exposure in a natural context, the same way that you would learn things in your native language. But you're also going to need a little bit of work, a little bit of deliberate learning to really assimilate everything in this lesson. So that's why you can go over to christinarobofe.com/worksheets and get a free worksheet that goes with this video to help you learn naturally by watching the video and learn deliberately by doing some exercises with the vocabulary from this video. All right, go and get your worksheet and let's continue the video lesson. And to go even further, you might ask yourself some very specific questions. Now, the website Indeed.com, which has a lot of great career advice, and you can use it to learn a bit of English while you're reading their articles, they suggest that we start by asking ourselves some specific questions to allow ourselves to find smarter solutions. So let's put all of that in action by asking ourselves some questions to solve your English problem. Here's the first question that you can ask about any complex problem. How does it affect your daily life? So let's take an example of like pushing your English beyond intermediate level. Now, when I meet with a new client for the first time and we talk about their difficulties in English, I always ask them, what are your biggest difficulties in English? What are your biggest problems? And people will often tell me, I translate in my head, I hesitate too much, I lack vocabulary, etc. But that's really like just the surface of the problem. So we often dig deeper to see how that problem affects them in their daily life. Because when you know how the problem affects you in your daily life, you know, or you don't know, but you start to know and to discover like how you can fix that problem so that it makes your life easier every day. So another question you can ask to help you really to define your problem is, does your problem hurt the well-being of yourself or the well-being of others? Okay, now I know that like fixing your English problems is not the same as curing a rare disease. I think we can all agree on that. But, a lot of my clients say that their problems with English, it hurts them. It hurts their confidence. It hurts their credibility. It hurts their opportunities for better jobs and better salaries. So looking at that and understanding how the problem is hurting your well-being, it can be a first step to finding a solution. Does your problem hurt your productivity? Like, does it make it more difficult or more complicated for you to do your work at the level you would like to do it? Again, taking the example of your English, maybe your level of English today, it means that you can't contribute as much as you would like in meetings. Maybe it means that you hesitate to respond to a job offer or a client's request because they say that they need a really good level of English. Maybe it also means, something other clients have said is that they limit themselves. If there's something that requires a really good level of English, they automatically say, I don't even dare to ask to be a part of the project or to go visit a specific client because I know that English is going to be very important and I don't feel confident about my English level. Does your problem hinder your communication? Basically, does it make it more difficult to communicate with others? Especially if you're working with others to solve problems, in order to work together to solve a problem, you have to communicate together to try to find solutions. So if your English is, making it harder for you to collaborate with others, to ask for help, maybe that means that you need some help with your English, and that's okay. Does your problem decrease your efficiency? I mean, very concrete example that lots of clients have shared with me. For example, you spend, maybe an hour or 45 minutes writing an email that normally should just take you 10 or 15 minutes in your native language. Or, maybe all of those times that you see someone, you see a phone call coming in and you see that it's from a different country, you know that you're going to have to speak English, and you let the person leave you a message on voicemail that you can listen to several times later, or you just ignore the call totally. And then either you maybe prefer to write them an email in response so that you can read it. But think of how much time that takes, and just how it's decreasing your efficiency. We can solve that problem. Okay, you might start feeling a little uncomfortable now that we're really looking at all your problems so closely. It doesn't feel comfortable at all. But it's important to remind yourself that it's okay. Clearly understanding the problem and how it affects your daily life is actually one of the first steps to really taking action to solve that problem. So there's something else that you have to really understand if you want to, let's say, start that process of solving the problem, of eliminating the problem, of eliminating that pain. And the first thing that you have to understand and really convince yourself is that you can fix the problem. You have that power. Maybe it's not easy, but you can do it. I want to share with you a little piece of advice and some great business English expressions from Gemma Lee Roberts, who is an organizational psychologist. Roberts writes about resiliency and a thing called mental agility, which basically means your ability to respond in new ways to problems that are always changing. Anyway, here's that quote from Roberts that I find so inspiring. It's not about having all the answers, but about being confident that you can figure out a new way of doing things to get where you want to go. Which basically means it's okay to have complex problems. I mean, we all have complex problems, but what's really important is to truly believe that you can find a way to solve them. So, are you one of the many problem solvers in our community? You know, today you're probably working on solving a lot of problems, more than one, that's for sure, because we all are, right? But that's why I'm really excited about next week's episode, where we're going to look at together how to take the steps to solve those problems now that we've identified what they are, how they're affecting your well-being, your daily life, and all of that stuff that, just makes problems problematic. And just like with this video, you'll be able to use those tips for your business life, your business problems, and also we're going to look specifically at how to solve your English problems. And as I always say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So here's how you can use some of the things that you learned in today's lesson. Down in the comments below, tell me a little bit about how your English is affecting your daily life. And if this lesson was useful for you, I would love to know. And there are 3 ways that you can tell me. First of all, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel on YouTube so that I can continue making more business English lessons for you, because I love it and I hope that you're learning with them. The second thing is go over to my website, christinarobofe.com, and get the worksheet that goes with this video. It's absolutely free and it's going to help you to better learn the things that you're learning in this video, but I mean better assimilate and really, really learn them. And the third thing is, go ahead and watch this other video. It's about concretely how to solve a problem in English dealing with unhappy customers. So if you've got that problem, we're going to solve it together in that video. All right, thanks a lot for improving your English with Business English with Christina. It's a privilege, and I'll see you next time.